Alright, so now this is 5.1, video 2. We're going to kind of go backwards now. So before we were given two functions, put them together, and kind of found the composition. Now we want to find two functions. So we want to find a function that we could substitute it in and get it out. So right now, we give you a list of three functions to kind of pick from. So when I look at this 2x squared, I'm really looking at, all right, I got an x squared and a 2x. I don't think h of x is really going to help us here. And I think about what I'm going to do. I want to substitute which x value into it. And so my options are either take x squared and put g of x in, and put the 2x in, or I could take 2 and I could substitute x squared in. If I do this first one, that 2 is going to get squared, I'm going to get 4x out. If the 2 is not in, it will become 2x squared. So I want the 2x squared, so that means I want the function with f, which is the x squared inside, which is the f of x. So I know my inner function wants to be f of x, because that's what I'm substituting in. My outer function is g of x. So it would be g of f of x. Okay, now look at that. The nice thing is 8 is just the opposite. I want that 4x squared. So now I need my 2 to get squared. So I need my g of x to be the inner function. And that means that f of x is the outer function. Here I can hopefully clearly see that x squared plus 1 idea at play. All right, and then I see some 2's popping up. So I'm hinting at 2x. Again, if I substitute 2x into x squared here, I'm not going to get out. I don't have a square root of 2, and I'm going to get that if I substitute that in. So I don't want to do that. I want to take 2 and substitute that x plus 1 in, because then I could distribute that. So my inside function is h of x, which means my outside function is g. So g of h of x. All right. 10 and 11 are similar, except now we just don't give you functions to start with. But I think these might be even easier. I hopefully you can start to see there's really clearly a function inside and outside. So I have 2x plus 3 is an inside function, and I have x to the fourth is the outside function, where I just took this and substituted into x to the fourth. So h of x specifically says I want f of g, which is f of g of x. So if I'm subbing, my inside function is x squared, 2x plus 3. That is my g of x, which means my f of x would be x to the fourth. I took this value, 2x plus 3, and I substituted it in there. That gets me f of g of x. All right. If you want to try out number 11, pause the video and you can work on that one right here. Okay, just to show you that work, here we go. My f of x is x squared. My g of x is 1 minus 1 over x squared. This one's pretty nice. Again, I see this outside function, x squared, and then whatever's on the inside is the inside function. All right. Let's flip over to page 2. A little bit more. Not too much more. So here, all they're talking about is if composition functions are equal, and it means when you substitute them in both directions, they should equal the same thing, and they should equal x. All right, so let's just go ahead and do this. F of g of x equals 4 times, I'm going to substitute that g of x in. That gets me 4 over 4x, which is just x. So that part's good. Now hopefully I get the same thing when I do g of f of x, sorry. So 1/4 parenthesis, or I'm going to substitute that in. That again gives me 4 over 4x, which equals x. So that one works. So I just show that they are both equal because when both function compositions are both in order to get u out x. All right. 14. A little bit different. We have graphs here to help us, but it hopefully should be just as all right. So we're going to do f of g is f of g of -3. That's the notation, and hopefully that's the hardest thing to do. All right. From there, we're going to start on the inside. Like I said, when you deal with numbers, it's easy. I think it's easier just to start on the inside and just start peeling it back. So g of -3. So I'm going to go to, well, -3, that is an x value. So I'm going to go find -3, and I want g of x. G of x is up here. G of x, I see that is at 1. So g of -3 is equal to 1. So that means, hey, I could take this 1 and sub it in. So I now have f of 1. I'm going to find 1. F is this function, so that gets me out 2. Okay, let's do another one. G O F, so that is g of f of 3. So now I'm going to start with f of 3. So f of 3. Well, f of 3, boom. That is 0. So that now means I'm going to do g of 0. G of 0, be careful, don't make my mistake. You go up to the g function, which is 4. So my answer there is 4. Take a moment to try C and D. Alright, so here are C and D. So C, I'm going to take the f of, again, it just becomes f of -4. So I start by doing, hey, what's f of -4? F of -4 is -3. So then I take that f of -3, -3f, -2. That is my answer. All right. This equation becomes g of 2. So that's what I'm trying to find. I start with the inside here, g of 2 equals 3, right? 1, 2 equals 3. So I then take g of 3. 3g is 4. So my final answer is 4. Alrighty. These are very similar. You should be able to take a moment, pause it, work on 15 and 16. You should be able to do these, and we'll go over in a second. Okay, so I start with the inside when I have a number, g of 3. Well, that is 5 parentheses. I switch out the x with the 3 to get me 15. So that now means I have f of 15. Again, I'm going to take that, and instead of x, I'm going to substitute in 15. So square root of 18. Simplify that up. That is square root of 9 times 2, which is 3 root 2. So that's the answer there. Given this, I now want to find f of g of x. So here, it's variables. I let's just go f of g of x. So I'm going to take my f 2 over. So x minus 5, I have g of x. Oh, look, I know what g of x is. So I have 7 over. 2 over 7 over 5x minus 5. To combine these, I need a common denominator. So 2 over 7 over 5x. I'll multiply this guy by 5x over 5x. So that becomes minus 25x over 5x. So that's 2 over 7 minus 25x over 5x. Okay. And then I need both of them to be a fraction, 2 over 1. over 7 minus 25x over 5x. We'll multiply by the reciprocal. So that equals, this is going to be 10x over 7 minus 25x. Alright, and that is it for 5.1.